We are on page 46. We bless together the holy delights. This year, since this day is not on Shabbat, we omit the words that are in brackets. Join me in the Hebrew and then the English before we sing together. Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Yom Tov, Kippurim. Blessed One, you are the emptiness that manifests as form, the source of all that is. You sanctify us through our performing holy deeds and give us this practice of kindling the light of the Day of Atonement. In a moment, we will meet the words, the melody that gives this evening its name. Kol Nidre, all our vows. Our tradition sets up an as-if scenario for us, right off the bat, as the evening begins. and the as-if scenario we are invited to partake in, to immerse ourselves in, is that though we are together sitting here on this night, none of us knows for sure that we will be here again next year. And so our tradition sets up a fiction, a scenario by which we are invited to see this year about to be as perhaps our last year on earth. And if this is the case, then what's now? What's next? What would we do? The invitation is for us to, in the eventuality of our early demise, that we clean house, that we mend the relationships that are in need of mending, that we take on what we have left perhaps on the back burner for so long, that we let go of all the perhaps or all the next times, all the when I have time, money, space, when, all the ways we postpone life. We are running out of time. All our vows, Kol Nidre, sets to affirm in the presence of a community that all the vows that we might pronounce, all the promises that we might make between now and the next Yom Kippur, though we intend fully to fulfill them, promises towards one another, vows we take with the universe, though we intend to fulfill them, in the eventuality of our early demise, may those promises, unfulfilled promises, not be held against us. May we be allowed to depart this world, God forbid, with a clear conscience, knowing we did all we could. And so as we step into this day, we enter into this let's pretend in order to help us do the work we need to do. We stop eating and drinking as if this was our dying day, our dying rehearsal. We disconnect from the world for 25 hours. We come together in a sacred space to immerse ourselves in the moment at hand. We wear white as if wearing our burial shroud. And we let go of caring for the body, turning our attention inward, trying to find in our life what truly matters now. This is the invitation of this day for each and every one of us. May we find the courage to step fully into the energies that are provided for us, that we might heal, that we might grow, that we might be transformed. We meet the words that help us enter into the Kol Nidre singing and chanting. They are on the top of page 47. Please rise. We convene ourselves as the Beit Din, as the house of judgment. We say in a moment that we make ourselves the earthly court. And in this earthly court in which we all partake, we invite on this day and this day alone. The rest of the year, the doors are locked. We invite all the sinners to come in and stand and sit next to us. We don't do that the rest of the year. That is why our synagogues are empty. In case you were wondering. We are all sinners, my friends. We are all doing our best, unfolding the truth of who we are in this process of becoming, of just becoming. This formula we are about to share together was initially a cheren formula, a formula of excommunication. But on Yom Kippur, the formula is reversed. It is not that we seek to excommunicate those not worthy. In fact, we embrace them, we welcome them. We say, come and sit next to us because we are one of you. So even if you feel yourself far from your community, far from your center, far from your soul, far from God, whatever you understand that to be, you are not. These doors are open. This community is your community. There is no way for any one of us to have gone that far away that we can never come back. So come back and be home. You belong here with us. Join me. B'shiva shel mala uv'shiva shel mata. על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל. אנו מתירים להתפלל עם העבריינים. By the authority of the heavenly court and by the authority of this earthly court, with the consent of the ever-present and the consent of this congregation, we hereby declare it permissible to pray with the transgressors. Amen. We're to hear the Kol Nidre 3 times. The first time, we'll hear the violin sharing in its plaintive melody. And we are invited, as the violin plays, to pronounce the words ourselves, to whisper the words ourselves. The second time, we'll hear our chazan, our cantor, sing the words of the Kol Nidre together with the piano. And there too, we are invited to repeat again these words together with the chazan, with the cantor. The third time, we'll have all 3 playing together. And the third time, again, we are the ones invited to say the words together with them. We must recite these words. Only we can make such a declaration to ourselves. So join me first in the English. Kol Nidre, chant of ages, chant of pain and chant of triumph, plaintive echo, resounding in tear-stained air, that martyrs, prophets, even children, Kol Nidre, all our vows. We are the beings who make promises, so we alone can remember or forget, accept or resist, and or return. Kol Nidre, when return means return to life and not back, when called Teshuvah. Kol Nidre, a melody made of soul meeting itself. Kol Nidre, a whisper of tragedy and joy remembered. Kol Nidre, a flame of sound. At the bottom of the page, we say the translation as if we are wearing a talit, cover ourselves if we so choose. All our vows, bonds, pledges, promises, pacts, obligations, and oaths to God that we vow, swear, pledge, and impose upon ourselves from this Yom Kippur until next Yom Kippur, may it come to us for good, be released, forgiven, erased, and made null and void in the event that we should find ourselves unable to fulfill them. They are not valid, nor are they in force. Our vows are not vows, our bonds, our oaths are not oaths.
מיום כיפורים זה עד יום כיפורים הבא עלינו לטובה כהן איחרת בטלים ומוטלים לא שריך ולא קיים Lo Nidre Vesarana Lo Esare Ushevu Atana Lo Shevut. Kol Yom Kippurim Zeh Ad Yom Kippurim Haba Sarah.
We remain standing for the Baruch Hu on page 48. Together, Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Bless the Eternal, the one who is blessing. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed. Blessed is the Eternal, the one who is blessing eternally. Please be seated. At the bottom of the page, Ahavat Olam. In just a moment, we'll meet the words of the Shema in the middle of the next page. words that are the central affirmation of our tradition, words that affirm the oneness of it all. Words that are extremely hard for us to fathom, to understand. I mean, maybe we understand the concept. Maybe intellectually makes somewhat sense. Even though the reality we are faced with is vastly different. Even though we find ourselves somehow existing on this side of this skin-encapsulated being. And then there is an outside of that is other than, that is separate from. So those words are fascinating because they make us really uncomfortable. What if everything was one? What we would be missing? What are we missing? How can we not readily understand or see the oneness that seems to be proclaimed by not just our tradition, but every mystical tradition the world over? The truth is that we exist at different levels. And then at different levels, reality appears vastly different. It's hard to find an analogy. So I'm going to try several. We'll see which one sticks. For the not so young. Remember in the 80s, they came up with those computer-generated pictures, and you put them up, and if you looked intensely at them or you looked through them, first you could see nothing, but then things would start to appear. As if from nothing, a bird would show up, an eagle. Remember those? Those were fun. See, the reality is that there is a oneness that is undifferentiated. But the beings we are always look for shapes. And so we create, we manifest out of the oneness, separateness. We suddenly see forms and shapes and people and benches and candles and tapestries and arcs. Like we actually manufacture that the way we did when we looked at those posters. Okay, for the less young, I'm going to try another angle. One of my favorite manifestation of art is pointillism. Maybe because it came from where I was born, it came from France, but there is something about those painters who painted this way that is very powerful. And if you don't know, those of you who might not have been born in the early 1900s, when this art first came out, painters actually put on the canvas little dots of colors. And if you look close, all you see is little dots of colors. I know. And you kind of have to step back a few steps to start seeing, actually your mind, your brain is going to start giving those dots of colors the shape of a person, of a tree, of a lake, right? Reality is kind of like that. Okay. One more. You're looking at your computer. Now everybody can understand that. And what you see on any given web page are pictures, shapes, forms, colors, boxes. If it's, there's an animation, you're seeing an animation. That's how we actually live on every moment. But if we could really look deeply, all we would see actually are ones and zeros. A vast tapestries of ones and zeros that the mind of the computer utilizes to manifest to our eyes some shapes, some forms, some colors. But really what we're looking at, unbeknownst to us, what we are looking at are ones and zeros. Code. There is levels of reality where seeing the universe this way is real. Though it might seem foreign to us right now, but really, you are all, I am looking at you, and you're a beautiful, pointiest painting. All of you, blips of energies coming in and out of existence so fast that it seems that it is on a continuous level, but it's not. And that's the oneness that the Shema is inviting us to discover for ourselves. That beyond the illusion of separateness is the absolute oneness out of which we emerge, but we're not separate from. Like waves on the ocean. Each of us going its own wave journey, thinking of ourselves as separate from all the other waves around. But all of us are just expression, emergence of the ocean, never separate from the ocean, one with the ocean. And when our time is up, we merge back completely with the ocean we had never left. Okay, that's 4. Please rise. We say together, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Listen, Israel. The eternal manifests as all that is. The eternal is one. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Blessed is the name. The splendor of its presence shines eternally. Please be seated. The Ve'ahavta follows the Shema in the Torah. And it's kind of a consequence that if we understand the oneness of it all, the pointillism-ness of it all, then the only appropriate way of being in that space is from a place of love. We only withhold love if we mistakenly see ourselves as separate from another, as separate from the world. Knowing ourselves one with everything just naturally evokes feelings and actions of love in our life. Join me. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבת על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת.
ישורנו ומצילנו אתה, כי אל מלך חנו ברחום אתה, והגן בידינו והסר, מעלינו אויב דבר, אויב דבר, דבר בחרב, דבר בחרב ברב ויגון, להסס אותם לחיים ולשלום, לחיים ולשלום, מעתה ועד עולם.
On page 51, we conclude our section of the Shema u'vichoteha, the Shema and its blessings, with a verse that is unique to Yom Kippur, a verse that is taken from the book of Leviticus, a verse that says, "The day itself atones." The day itself atones. The day itself holds the energies, and it is us who just have to show up. As it is the case often, as it is often all that's required of us. Trust that this day itself atones. Join me in the Hebrew and the English. Ki vayom hazeh yechaper alechem letaher etchem mikol chatotechem lifnei Adonai titharu. For this day itself atones, cleansing you from your mistakes, that you might know yourself to be pure in the presence of the One.
כי ביום הזה יכפר עליכם לטהר אתכם מכל תולכם לפני אדוני
rise for the Amidah. We are going to daven the Amidah all the way through page 56. On the top of page 56, just before the Slichot service. You're welcome to daven on your own following the Hebrew. You know, davening means that we whisper those words just loud enough that our ears can hear them, but not our neighbor. You're welcome, if Hebrew isn't familiar to you, to read those in the English. You're welcome as well to find words within your heart to share in the moment, to engage in a dialogue, in a conversation with a great thou, a great love, a great presence, however you understand that to be. We'll start with Adonai Satai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Eternal One, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. You may be seated when you are done.
Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilah Tehilatecha
And we'll continue with a few moments of meditation. And as the lights grow dim into the sanctuary, I invite you to find your breath. I invite you to simply pay attention to the body, breathing in and breathing out. Nothing else to do, nowhere else to go. Just being here. I invite you to also relax any place of tension that you might find simply by observing the body. Tension in the belly, perhaps we are holding the belly in as we have conditioned ourselves to do. Can we release? Can we let the belly float freely and fully up and down with each breath cycle? To let go of the tension we might find in the shoulders, the hands. To let those become empty of energy. And the same with our jaw and the muscles of our face. Can we release the tension we can find there? To perhaps find yourself gently walking barefoot on a warm, sandy beach in that most idyllic place. And to feel as you're walking the warm sand between your toes. You're completely alone. There is you, the sand, and the blue ocean. The sky is pure blue and the sun is beaming. And you decide to sit down for a moment, facing the ocean. And you find yourself cross-legged, breathing deeply. And somehow, without noticing, the rhythm of your breath has come to match the rhythm of the ocean and the waves coming in and receding are somehow matching your breathing in and your exhaling. You and the ocean are one. Your breath is the breath of the earth. The rhythm of the dance between the two of you is also the breath of the universe. Breathing everything in and out of existence. Here one moment, exhaling the next, inhaling again, breathing life into form. And suddenly you realize that you are not breathing. Every time you inhale, you are receiving the kiss of life from God, filling you through and through. You and the waves, one with the universe, one with the totality of being. Can you let go into that place? Can you find yourself being completely surrendered, being breathed in and out, one with the ocean? Can we let go of all that we carry around? Can we hold on to nothing at all? There is you and the sand, the ocean, and the breath. The aliveness of the totality of creation, breathing you in and out, loving you in and out. Loving you unconditionally, in and out. You are the life, pulsating, vibrating, breathing. Oh, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to you. Stop pretending you have a name, a past. Stop pretending you are that story. I know who you are. You are the ocean, breathing in and out, in and out. And suddenly you find yourself bowing deeply in the presence of the universe, surrendered, finally home. Knowing the peace at the center of your being. You know this moment will come to an end, that eventually you will stand back up on the beach and walk off to meet the world again. But can you take the beach with you a little bit? Can you remember in the days and weeks about to be the breath of the ocean that is you? Every time you are able to be present to this body of yours, breathing. Can you bring a little bit of the sun and the warmth? Can you pretend to reach into one of your pockets and find a handful of sand, warm? It's going to be December and then January. But if you reach into your pocket, you'll find the sand anytime you want. And you'll remember who you truly are.
באהבה תקבל ותהי לרצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך ברוך אתה אדוני שאותך לבדך ביראה אהבו רצה אדוני אלוהינו בעמך בעמך ישראל ותפילתה
come back into the sanctuary, we find ourselves on page 55. We'll close our Amidah with Besefer Chaim. You know, the story is that we have to work this day that we might be inscribed in the book of life. There's a great story that I always love to share at that time when we get to that song. The story of Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, one of the great Hasidic masters of Eastern Europe, who even in the middle of the Amidah, when on Yom Kippur evening, on Kol Nidre, he, leading his congregation, would come to that song, will come to those verses, will start bursting out in laughter, laughing uncontrollably with just an incredible burst of joy. And his Hasidim, his students would be concerned on the solemn day of Kol Nidre, of Yom Kippur, in the middle of the Amidah, the most solemn of all prayers, where we're supposed to cry the tears of our heart and pour our heart out. The Rebbe is laughing. But the Rebbe knew something his disciples forgot. That this day, Yom Kippur, is called in our tradition Shabbat HaShabbatot, the Sabbath of all Sabbath, the holiest of all Shabbats in all the year. It's Yom Kippur. And the Rebbe knew that one of the things that we are forbidden to do on Shabbat, let alone the Shabbat of Shabbats, is write. It is asur, it is forbidden. You shall not write on Yom Kippur, on Shabbat, or the Shabbat of all Shabbats. For sure not. Of course not. God forbid. The only time you would be allowed to write or break any rules of Shabbat would be in the case of pikuach nefesh, saving a life. If you must save a life, then all the rules are set aside. You must save that life, forget about Shabbat and all the rules, forget about not writing. This is the greatest mitzvah of them all. So the Rebbe knew and laughed that because this was Shabbat HaShabbatot, and because our life was between life and death on that day, God, if He was going to write anything on Shabbat, obviously would have to write all of us in the book of life. Pikuach nefesh. Obviously. May you laugh, find the joy, and write yourself. Pikuach nefesh. Save your own life and write yourself into the book of life. To be alive this year. To be fully, completely, beautifully, gorgeously who you are. B'Sefer Chaim.
בספר חיים ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה להיזכר ולהיכתב לפניך אנחנו מלכות ישראל לחיים טובים ולשלום בספר חיים ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה ניזכר וניכתב לפניך אנחנו בית ישראל לחיים טובים ולשלום
Page 56 and then 57, we enter into the slichot part of our service tonight. And those are some of my favorite moments of our Yom Kippur service with all the other moments of it. Two songs, one from the Ashkenazi tradition that we're going to start together with Ya'aleh, and then one on the next page, page 57, that I brought from my tradition, from the Mizrahi, the Sephardi tradition of my family, the Moroccan roots. And I'm going to invite you to sing together with me for that one. But first, for Ya'aleh, we rise as the ark is opened. And please join the singers because we're all singing together.
יעלה, יעלה, קולנו מערב, ויעבור, ויעבור, צדקתנו מבוקר, ויעלה מיליוננו, ויראה, ויראה, מיליוננו עד ערב, יעלה, יעלה, ציוננו מערב, ויעבור, ויעבור, סליחתנו מבוקר, ויעלה אהבתנו, ויראה, ויראה, נעלתנו עד הערב. יעלה מנוסנו מערב, ויעבור למענו מבוקר, ויראה חיפורנו עד ערב. יעלה, יעלה, יישנו מערב, ויעבור, ויעבור, טהורנו מבוקר, ויראה חינוננו עד ערב, ויראה, ויראה, חינוננו עד ערב, יעלה, יעלה, זיוננו מערב, ויעבור, ויעבור, וילותנו מבוקר, ויראה הנתנו ערב, ויראה, ויראה, הנתנו עד ערב, יעלה, יעלה, דופקנו מערב, ויעבור, ויעבור, גילנו מבוקר, ויראה בקשתנו עד ערב, ויראה, ויראה, בקשתנו עד ערב, יעלה, יעלה, אין חגנו מערב, ויעבור, ויעבור, אליך מבוקר, ויראה אלינו עד ערב, ויראה, ויראה אלינו עד ערב.
You may be seated. All right, I'm going to do my best. So we'll just do the refrain together. Chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu. Let's do it again. Chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu. All right, so now I'm going to lead and then you're going to join me for you can join me for everything because it repeats everything, all the melody is the same over and over again. חטאנו לפניך רחם עלינו אדון הסליחות, בוחן לבבות, גולה עמוקות, דובר צדקות, חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו. הדור בנפלאות, ותיק בנחמות, זכור ברית אבות, חוקר כליות. חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו. טוב ומיטיב לבריות, יודע כל נסתרות, כובש עוונות, לובש צדקות. חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו. מלא זכויות, נורא תהילות, סולח עוונות, עוד מתת צרות. חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו. פועל ישועות, צופה עתידות, קורא הדורות, רוכב ערבות, צומח תפילות, תמים דעות. חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו. Shema Kolenu on page 58. Together. Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, chus v'rachem aleinu, v'kabel berachamim uvratzon, et tfilatenu. Listen to our voice, Eternal One of Being. Show us kindness and compassion, and receive our prayers with kind-heartedness and goodwill.
Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, chus v'rachem aleinu,
And here we are. We have come again to the Al-Chet. Every year, we find ourselves confronted by this litany of confession. And every year, though we believe we have worked hard on ourselves, we are also confronted with the fact that we once again have missed the mark. Not in just one or two ways, but as we read the line after line after line of this texts, we realize we've missed the mark there as well, and there as well. And yes, we have done this yet again. How is this possible? How is it possible that year after year, though we know the Al-Khed is coming, it's February, but we know it's coming, how do we find ourselves still in the fall back in that same place? So there is a Cherokee tale from that tradition that might help shed some light to this predicament of ours. And perhaps you know that story, but I love that story. A Cherokee elder is teaching his grandson lessons about life. At some point, he turns to his grandchild and says to him, "Look, there is a great battle being waged within me. A terrible fight between two wolves. One is evil. It is greed and anger. It is lies. It is arrogance. It is false pride. The other is good. It is love. It is compassion. It is kindness. And it is truth. And these two wolves are fighting within me as they are within you. In fact, as they are in each and every human being." And the grandson just ponders what his grandfather just said for a moment and turns to him and asks, "Grandpa, who will win?" And the grandfather responds to his grandchild, "The one you feed." Jewish tradition has a name, actually, for those two wolves. One is called the Yetzer Hara, the selfish inclination. The other, the Yetzer Hatov, the selfless inclination. And for us, it's not just about which one you feed. It is also which one you starve. And that's an important distinction. The world out there is vying for our attention, for our eyeballs. It is dedicated to keeping us watching, engaged, to keeping us liking, to keeping us sharing, to keeping us posting, but also keeping us clicking and buying. It is a world that is bent on starving our Yetzer Hatov by removing all opportunities we might have to, in fact, engage with life selflessly, compassionately. inwardly. Instead, we are bombarded with distractions that are keeping our focus outwardly directed. And that is causing us to be divided. You from me from others. It is causing us to enter into a space of great anger and fear. It is dividing us because it is forcing us, pushing us to choose sides. The more we click, the more we share, the more we post, the more we are invited, enticed into continuing to post and share the same kind of messages that are keeping us stuck in a vicious circle and alienating us from one another. Paradoxically, what divides us gives us a sense of belonging, which is why it's so powerful to us. In a world so alienating, we feel that we belong to a bubble of people who share the same words, the same anger, the same hatred. Anger, actually, is one of the most powerful emotions that we can tap into. It feeds our sense of self-righteousness. There's nothing more powerful than to know we are right, because we know they are wrong. And then fear. Fear is the emotion that is so basic that we are manipulated into staying stuck and activating our Yetzer Hara, our selfish inclination, more and more. It drives us towards hatred, that fear, towards rejecting the other. It drives our racism, our anti-Semitism. It drives our homophobia. It drives our need to build walls and exclude all that is different than us. Fear is at the core of what animates our Yetzer Hara. And there is a world that is pushing us, feeding that wolf inside of us. What is being starved is our Yetzer Hatov, our ability to empathize, our ability to feel compassion. You know, compassion means to feel the suffering of others. It is starving our very soul. It is starving our ability to expand, to grow, to learn, to evolve. There was a great piece that author Steve Ammon wrote that I'd like to share with you. I believe our entire species is, at this perilous moment, engaged in a pitched battle for the inner life. One so pervasive that it has become as invisible as air. Over the past half-century, this struggle has degenerated into an all-out assault. To focus on the inner life today, to read books, to think deeply, to reflect on painful or confusing experiences, like we do on Yom Kippur? Is to defy the clamoring edicts of our age, the ingrained habits of passive consumption and complaint, the worship of athletes and moguls and movie stars, of a preening demagogue birthed in the oxymoronic swamp of reality television, preyed upon is our hunger for sensations and narcissistic reward, our readiness to privilege action over contemplation, our tireless compulsion to be known by the world, our feeds coaxing us to perform a market-ready version of our lives, rather than seeking to know ourselves. Yet, what matters is not the quality of a particular life, but the quality of attention paid to that life. Let me say that last sentence again. What matters is not the quality of a particular life, but the quality of attention paid to that life. Make no mistake, we are, you and I, all of us, engaged in a battle for the inner life. This battle against fabricated distraction and division, aiming at keeping humanity in a state of, at best, arrested development. At worst, as in fact we are seeing, in a process of regression towards more narcissistic concerns. Al-Khet reminds us that the work we are to do can only start where we are, right here, right now. Because us doing this work will snowball in our lives, in our communities, through all the people and beings we approach. We are the ones that need to start reversing this trend of being fed, being conditioned to feed our Yetzer Hara, and to begin the process of starving that Yetzer Hara, to step away consciously, systematically from that which alienates us, that distracts us, and to feed instead our Yetzer HaTov, like Steve Alman said, to read books that we can expand our consciousness beyond what we already know, that we reflect deeply about who we are, what we are, our place in our life, in the universe. But also, I would add that we carve time for meditation. This practice that is there to help us know ourselves. Because that is a worthwhile journey, the inner journey. Al-Khet reminds us to know exactly where we are right now, to take responsibility for how we are showing up right now, without beating ourselves up, just to know this is me right now, and to start from here. To start from here. And to commit this year to pay more attention to our life, to pay more attention to ourselves, to the way we show up, and to discover the deeper layers of who we are and who other peoples are. You know, to pay attention in Hebrew is a gorgeous expression. It's lasim lev. Lasim lev, literally to put your heart into. put your heart into. May we all this year commit to a practice whereby we would put our heart into our mindfulness, our carefulness, our heartfulness into every moment, into every encounter. Now we know that we are all works in progress. But that we might all find ourselves reading the Alef together a year from now, knowing that we have taken the first steps towards mindful living, that we can begin to shorten our list. Please rise. We say together, our God and God of our fathers and mothers, we are not so insolent as to claim that we are without failing. We join the ancient litany of confession as a community, as we have done for generations, for all the moments when, with our actions, our words, our thoughts, our feelings, and our images, we deny the life that is our life. God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we have sinned before you. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, be'imutz halev, for the sin we have sinned before you by hardening our hearts to the feelings of others. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, bivli da'at, for the sin we have sinned before you because we lacked knowledge of the consequences of our actions. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha begilui arayot, for the sin we have sinned before you through acting against our own morality. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bagalui uvasater, for the sin we have sinned before you openly or in secret. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha beda'at uvmirma, for the sin we have sinned before you knowingly and deceitfully. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bedibur peh, for the sin we have sinned before you through speech. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha behona'at re'ah, for the sin we have sinned before you through deceiving another person. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bezadon uvishgaga, for the sin we have sinned before you consciously or unconsciously. Ve'al kulam Eloah slichot, slach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. For all of them, God of forgiveness, forgive us, release us, grant us atonement. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha belatzon, for the sin we have sinned before you through scorning others. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bechozek yad, for the sin we have sinned before you by hurtfully exercising power. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bilshon hara, for the sin we have sinned before you by hurting others through our speech. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'masa uvmatan, for the sin we have sinned before you through dishonest and hurtful business dealings. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha biflilut, for the sin we have sinned before you in judging others and ourselves unfairly. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'kashiyut oref, for the sin we have sinned before you through being obstinate. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'sinat chinam, for the sin we have sinned before you by hating too easily. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'timhon levav, for the sin we have sinned before you through not knowing our own heart. Ve'al kulam Eloah slichot, slach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. For all of them, God of forgiveness, forgive us, release us, grant us atonement. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we have sinned before you by failing to work toward peace. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we have sinned before you by keeping silent in the face of injustice. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we have sinned before you by not acting to relieve the suffering of those in distant lands. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we have sinned before you by not caring for the poor in our midst. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we have sinned before you by not acting to protect our fragile environment. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we have sinned before you by indulging ourselves while others suffer. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we have sinned before you by being unclear about our priorities in the life you have given us. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we have sinned before you by being closed to your presence in our lives. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, and the list goes on. At the bottom of the page, we use words to express harmony or support conflict. With each letter of our alphabet, we call worlds into existence before our eyes, to share words of pain, words of anguish, and let them go, can spell for us all joyful acts of reconciliation. Pain for its own sake is not what we seek during these moments. We seek forgiveness within ourselves. We seek the strength to meet truly as a community of forgiveness. We will read the English also at the top of page 61. And then Celia will lead us into the Ashamanu as a call and response. But first, join me. We have abused, betrayed, and been cruel. We have destroyed, embittered, and falsified. We have gossiped, hated, and insulted. We have jeered, killed, and lied. We have mocked, neglected, and oppressed. We have perverted, quarreled, and rebelled. We have stolen, transgressed, and been unkind. We have been violent and wicked. We have exploited others and ourselves. We have yielded to evil and have been zealots for hurtful causes. ועל כולם, אלוהה סליחות, סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו. For all of them, God of forgiveness, forgive us, release us, grant us atonement. Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu, we have sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu, have mercy upon us and upon our children. Avinu Malkeinu, rid us of disease, war, and famine. Avinu Malkeinu, cause all hate and oppression to vanish from the earth. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us all for good in the book of life. Avinu Malkeinu, renew us with a good year. This is one of those melodies, one of those who come to us through generations. Voices of pain in the darkness of our past. but voices also of great hope and renewal, rebirth and resilience. These stories, our stories, the Jewish people's history, is following the melody that somehow gets imprinted in the Avinu Malkeinu. You are welcome to close your eyes and listen to the melody being sung to you. You are even more welcome to join in singing together with us. You're welcome to cover yourself with your prayer shawl if that is a practice that is supportive of your inwardness. But simu lev, put your heart into this moment.
Hallelujah.
Remain standing if you are able. We continue with tonight a short version of the congregational Avinu Malkeinu. We are on page 62. Part of starving our Yetzer Hara, our egocentric wolf, is to bring it down from its pedestal and to practice humility. I invite you to join us for the great Aleinu, and in practicing humility by engaging in full prostration. And if you are doing so with us tonight, please find your way either in the aisle or here in the front so that you can engage in this practice. We say together, We are the ones given this way of praising the Holy One of all being, that we might understand and express the greatness of the one who shapes all creation. We celebrate our uniqueness and that of others, and seek to discover the wonder that we are. Therefore, we bend the knees, we bow, and we proclaim our gratitude before the ruler of all rulers, the Holy One of all being. As it is said, then we shall truly realize the Eternal One as universal being. And on that day, the unity of being shall be celebrated by all. And as we find our way back into our seats, we turn to page 63 and the mourner's Kaddish, seeking to open our hearts to the precious memories we are holding, seeking to affirm our connection still through the words, the ancient words of the Kaddish. Join me. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divera chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabba mevorach le'alma u'lalmei almaya, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. May the one who creates harmony above make peace for us, for all the household of Israel, and for all the peoples of the world. And let us say, Amen. We greet one another on this day, and actually in the next few days, all the way through the end of Simchat Torah, with Gemar Chatima Tova. Gemar Chatima Tova. May you be inscribed in the book of life for good. Just want to say just how grateful I am for the gorgeous music that is always accompanying us through those holidays, and the tireless work that it takes year after year to get to this place where it just helps us go deeper and deeper and deeper. And thanks to Ruby Greenberg, who joined us tonight for Kol Nidre. That is her only appearance. But it sure makes a difference. We'll meet again at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow morning, right here. I'm going to ask, as I always do, that no electronic device enter into the sanctuary, and if they do, to please completely and totally turn them off. I would encourage you to just leave them home tomorrow, as you know, you're not going to need them here, and you can catch up with all the sad news of the world. After our dinner, when you get home, there will be the whole night to cry over that. Give yourself a break. This is your time. This is your space. And keep it free of what it keeps us tethered. Spend the day. Spend the day with us. This work requires that we come together in community to work together, shoulder to shoulder. We're all in this together, and we all need one another. Many of us will be fasting tomorrow, meaning that we will neither be eating nor drinking. I know that some of you might. If you do, obviously please not in the space. By respect for those of us who are in fact fasting tomorrow, I've ordered sun. You're welcome. So if you feel the desperate need to either drink or eat, please find a good place in the sun to do so outside of the sanctuary. That would be most appreciated. It's not required for everybody to fast. I also want to make sure I say that, because for some of us, the process of fasting is to help us go deeper. But if it's actually an obstacle for you, then please do what will help you go deeper. just respect those of us who are fasting. I'm going to ask, as we do every year, that we leave this sanctuary after our closing song in silence, or during our closing song in silence. And as you walk in tomorrow morning, please respect and keep the silence as well in this space. Gemar Chatima Tova.
Padita oti